those are some just outstanding folks we've had the opportunity to honor tonight, and we're extremely grateful as a board to have employees like these teachers and principals and athletic directors that we've just met tonight, and there are many others that we have, and we're so proud of all of them and all that they do for our students. We are now at time for public comments. 3 quick rules. The first one is if you'd start by stating your name and address, which will not count against your time. Second one is you have 3 minutes, speaking of time. And with 15 seconds left, a yellow light will go on. So if you would wind your remarks up then, because the red light is inevitably going to follow momentarily. So if you would observe that, because we do, I notice, have a lot of speakers who are interested in speaking tonight. And we're grateful for that. So the third thing is, if you have anything specific about a specific student or a specific employee, we would ask that you direct those items to Nora Carr, who's right here, and we want to address those, but with respect to the confidentiality of personnel records in our state and also confidentiality of student privacy matters, we would ask that you not specifically address those in a public context. But we are extraordinarily interested in hearing from you about issues that are important to you in terms of education. We find we benefit from having input from our public, and we are very grateful to have input from our public. And so we are glad that there are a lot of people here who have taken their time to come and speak with us tonight. So with that background, our first speaker is Lisa Reid, to be followed by Matthew Cook. And if you're next up, if you get close by, it'll help us speed along. And let me just say, since I see some very fine students here, if there's something the speaker says that you agree with, instead of taking up time with applause, if you would do this, we will know you're in agreement. That's the way we've devised over the years, and it's worked very well, and it's kept us moving and given all the speakers a chance to speak. Good evening and welcome.
Hi, I'm Lisa Reid, and I live at 9 Lake Bluff Court. This evening, I bring to you over 2,200 petitions requesting that the school board set standards so that religion will not be denigrated in classroom assignments. This document, A Teacher's Guide to Religion in Public Schools, has been endorsed by 19 different associations, including the National School Boards Association, the National Education Association, and the American Federation of Teachers. It holds that religious conviction must be treated with fairness and respect. Religion must be taught objectively and neutrally. Schools are not to promote or to denigrate religion. Some of the assigned books in Guilford County greatly denigrate Christianity. 2 of the books specifically covered by the petition, The Handmaid's Tale and Cat's Cradle. Currently, when a teacher proposes a book for study in Guilford County, the form used for that proposal does not even question whether or not a book denigrates a religion. This form must be changed immediately so that we know that doesn't happen. In addition, when a book violates that principle, the very fabric of our religious liberty is at stake. Therefore, the challenge to any such book must be heard directly at the school board level. The current practices of this school board have not protected the students of Guilford County in this very important matter. I am sure that each of you would agree that it is not the role of the public school system to denigrate anyone's faith. Our president recently said that the U.S. government does not stand for the denigration of anyone's faith. The National School Board Association has pledged itself to this standard, and that is a standard that you must keep. In both a Supreme Court case, the PICO case, and a separate lower-level court decision, it was determined that the school board, as the public's elected representatives, set the standard in this area. In Ohio, the school board determined that the book Cat's Cradle was not appropriate for classroom assignment. Challenged by the ACLU, the court ruled for the school board. The court concluded, and I quote, Clearly, discretion as to the selection of books must be lodged somewhere, and we can find no federal constitutional prohibition which prevents it being lodged in school board officials who are the elected representatives of the people. The Board of Education is empowered by state law to make such decisions, not faculty. Our faith, a founding principle of our country, is under attack. And I must ask you, are you now ready to defend it and set appropriate standards so that religion is no longer denigrated in Guilford County public schools? Thank you.
Thank you. Our next appreciate that the audience agrees, and again, it will save time so that we can get to all of our speakers, and I think that's important out of courtesy for all of our speakers, because we will know if you agree. I'm watching when you put your hands up, and I thank you for that, and I know other board members are as well. Our next speaker is Matthew Cook, to be followed by Jeff Hargett. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Cook, and I live at 5706 Birchbrook Circle, Greensboro, North Carolina, 27410. Good evening. I am a junior at Northwest High School. There are books on the Guilford County reading list that are denigrating to Christians. Although those books have not been assigned to me, they are approved by Guilford County, and at any moment they may be placed on any reading list in the county. I have friends at Grimsley, and these books are currently on their reading list. When I was in 6th grade, I was reading on a 12th grade level. Although I am an avid reader, I choose carefully what I read. As a Christian, it concerns me that Guilford County would approve books that denigrate Christianity. The word denigrate means to deny the validity of, to attack the reputation of, or to belittle. The day after the recent attack in Libya, President Obama stated, I quote, "Since our founding, the United States has been a nation that respects all faiths. We reject all efforts to denigrate the religious beliefs of others, but there is absolutely no justification to this type of senseless violence," end quote. By choosing books for the reading list that denigrate Christianity, you are not rejecting all efforts to protect everyone's beliefs. Some would argue that books such as these in question help teens better understand the world. We have become desensitized to profanity and lewd behavior in our society. Some would argue that these books are just the opportunity that students need to defend their faith. How many teenagers do you know that are going to stand up before their classmates and their teachers to defend their faith? Students shouldn't have to defend their faith because of a teacher's assignment. Aren't we a country established on religious freedom? Several of these books are very graphic sexually and very violent. Some of these books have been made into R-rated movies. Such vivid accounts burn lasting images into our minds. My mother says, "The mind is like a computer. Any of the information put into your brain is there forever, and it is retrievable at any moment." I want to put good information into my mind. Guilford County should be partnering with me on that, not working against me. The Guilford County Handbook states, "Students shall respect other students, visitors, school employees, and other persons by utilizing appropriate language and behaviors at all times." Are you aware how often profanity is used in some of these assigned books? Even the Supreme Court chooses not to have profanity spoken before them, even when that is the very issue before the court. Yet our schools are promoting profanity by choosing assignments where profanity is commonplace. The results are evident. We live in a society where vulgar language has become acceptable. Pornography. There are lots of studies about the effects of porn on our culture. It can produce addiction. It produces shame, depression, and a loss of ability to stay in lasting relationships. The North Carolina statutes promote abstinence. Do all books the school board approve hold to these same standards? Clearly not. In closing, I am here tonight to ask you to set and enforce standards for protecting my faith, Christianity, from being denigrated, and to ask you to set higher standards in which books are selected for student reading assignments. I am glad to meet with you and to work with you to help improve education in Guilford County as we strive to have the best education offered in our state and be a leader for our nation. Let's set standards high. You can make a positive difference in the youth of our county, therefore making a difference in our nation and in our world. Thank you for all you do for the students of Guilford County. God bless.
Thank you. Let me just ask again, in the interest of time and courtesy to our other speakers, if we could keep to the 3 minutes. And again, we are noticing that you're in favor of what the remarks that are being made. And we always appreciate having students come, and thank you for having students who are so articulate share their thoughts with us. Our next speaker is Jeff Hargett, to be followed by David Michaels. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, Board. My name is Jeff Hargett. I live at 6845 Spencer-Dixon Road here in Greensboro. I'm here tonight to voice my objection to the book, The Handmaid's Tale, and all of the books and literature that is required by GCS for students to read that contain explicit content. I'm a part of the problem, so that's why the book is allowed like this in schools, because of my ignorance and apathy. But that changes tonight because I am now educated and motivated to take a stand to change what our children are forced to read. As parents, we were required to review our children's student handbook, sign it in, and return it back to their teacher. On page 1 of that handbook states, as members of our school community, it is the duty of parents to follow the policies and guidelines outlined in this handbook. I'm fulfilling my duty as a parent to inform this board that policies have been broken. In the handbook, rule number 4 states, lewd, illegal, or sexual gestures or acts, even if consensual, will result in serious consequences. Rule number 8 states, any action which is insulting, abusive, harassing, profane, or obscene is specifically prohibited. The entire section of page 53 for the harassment by students has been broken. I'm going to read out aloud some information and excerpts from the book, The Handmaid's Tale. This book has 300 pages which contains some of the following: 7 sex acts, 64 sexual allusions, 11 references to suicide, with 3 being carried out. Others include drugs, drinking, smoking, and profanity. Suicide ranks number 3 among the reasons for deaths of kids 12 to 19 years old. In Psalms 129, God tells us we are fearfully and wonderfully made. I believe that we are special, we have a meaning and a purpose in life, and nothing should ever justify for anyone to want to take their own life. Imagine my 16-year-old girl reading these excerpts from the book of page 118. Sometimes the movies she showed would be an old porno film from the 70s or 80s. I say making love. This is not what he is doing. On page 144, men are sex machines, said Aunt Lydia, and not much more. They only want one thing. You must learn to manipulate them for your own good. My daughter would have received disciplinary action if she spoke this in her class. I hope you are as disgusted and upset about hearing this as I am about reading it. There are many more references, but time will not allow. You are elected members, but make no mistake about it. God's word states that to whom much is given, much will be required. No one has power except God. God grants it to no matter if you choose to accept it or not. We will all be accountable to him in this life or the next. After tonight, I will stand as one who fought for what is right. Now what you will do, will you do the right thing? As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is David Michaels, to be followed by Cathy Barnett. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman Duncan. My name is David Michaels. My address is 4102 Oak Cliff Road in Greensboro. Slightly different topic. I'm here on behalf of a group of parents and students and coaches to represent the Southeast High School athletic facilities. We have some needs out there that are not being met as it relates to the baseball and the softball facilities. I recently conducted sort of a windshield tour of all the different high schools to see how we stack up against the others. And I have a letter here that I sent to Chairman Duncan that you'll be handed. It's also got a chart in there of the results of my findings that shows basically what the different high schools have. What we're lacking, in our opinion, is we don't have any permanent bathroom facilities at either our baseball or our softball fields. We don't have any handicap bathroom facilities at our baseball and softball fields. We don't have any handicap access to any of the fields through pavement or concrete sidewalks. We don't have any facility whatsoever for storing or marketing concessions at either of these facilities. We don't have a facility set up for doing scoring, announcing at either field, and the parking at the baseball field overflows onto Southeast School Road when we have a large crowd. People park along the sides, and that's just not a safe situation for people to be loading and unloading. The chart, once you get the letter and you see it, you can see the majority of the high schools in Guilford County do have permanent bathrooms. They do have some sort of a permanent brick or block or other facility for marketing and storing concessions, and generally also an area for scoring and announcing. Of course, a significant amount of bond money has been spent at Southeast Guilford in the last few years, and we're very appreciative of that. But we do feel like we still have some deficiencies out there, and hopefully some funding can be found to address these basic public needs at these athletic facilities. I've been working on this for about a year, trying to go through various channels, and I've gotten, not very far. And so that's why I'm here tonight, to make an appeal to you to hopefully give us an opportunity to sit down with somebody, to take a look at our facilities, lay out some sort of a consolidated plan that we can move forward on, address those things that need to be addressed, and then find some funding to go ahead and get them done. And talking with some other folks, I think most of the improvements at the baseball facility have all been done through private funds, the lights, the dugouts, the backstop, and so it's time for the school board, we feel, to step up and supply these basic public needs for when you're having an athletic event. So I appreciate the time to be able to speak, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Cathy Barnett, to be followed by Linda Moselle. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Cathy Barnett, and my address is 3 Mainsail Court, Greensboro. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. I am here tonight to stand with Lisa Reid and the 2,000 plus other concerned citizens of Guilford County who ask you, the Board of Education, to restore integrity and a balance of intelligence plus character to the curriculum in our schools. You see, I happen to think that intelligence and critical thinking are not mutually exclusive to character, morality, or even religion. It is my understanding that an argument made by the administration to retain sexually explicit and profane literature on the approved curriculum list is that our students need it to broaden their minds and grow intellectually. Wrong. Our students are barraged every day in the media and online with sexually explicit images and videos that counteract morals and good character. Parents face the daunting task of protecting and educating our kids about watching and participating responsibly in activities that are good and build them up. We need Guilford County schools to partner with us, not work against us, in this quest to raise our children to be decent, responsible, and caring citizens of this great nation. The North Carolina General Assembly has required local school boards provide character education with, quote, input from the local community. Part of this directive requires teaching about, quote, self-discipline, restraining from inappropriate behaviors, being in proper control of your words, actions, impulses, and desires, choosing abstinence from premarital sex, drugs, alcohol, and other harmful substances and behaviors, end quote. Assigning sexually explicit, profane literature directly defies what our state legislature is asking students to be taught in our schools about character. Surely with all the talent and years of education in this room and the centuries of writings available to us, we can find literature for our students that challenges their minds without damaging their character. Another argument made for our students being assigned literature that denigrates faith is that our students need to learn how to defend their values. While I agree we need to teach children how to take a stand for what is right, shouldn't we also teach them that to denigrate someone's faith is wrong? Couldn't we better educate them on this matter by studying actual court cases and practical things going on in the world, challenging the role of religion and government in our society rather than forcing them to swallow fictional, atheistic rants such as The Handmaid's Tale or Cat's Cradle, which are far from the realities of this world? In reality, great people of faith, such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Gandhi, and our own Billy Graham, have championed human rights of all people, not just the faithful. They deserve to be celebrated, not denigrated. So again, I respectfully ask you, implore you to restore integrity to the curriculum of Guilford County Schools by implementing standards requiring faith be treated respectfully and providing curriculum that balances intelligence plus character, as Dr. King so eloquently stated, as the goal of true education. God bless you all, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Linda Moselle, to be followed by McElroy Yu.